Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Aj101 Criminal Law Online. My name is Tony Farrar, and I will be your instructor for this semester. But before we get started, I'd like to give you a little information about myself. I have over 34 years in the field of law enforcement, spending the last 5 years as the police chief for the City of Rialto Police Department in San Bernardino County. I've pretty much worked every assignment that there is within a police department, with the exception of canine officers. So if there's anything you need to know about a police organization or how it functions or how to get a job or anything along those lines, please feel free to use me as a resource, and I would be more than happy to help you in any way that I can. Now, on the educational side, I have a master's degree in police science, a second master's degree or MBA in business administration, and a third master's degree in criminology, my favorite subject, by the way, from the University of Cambridge Institute of Criminology in all places, England. Fantastic experience, and if we get some time, I'll talk about it a little bit more later. But now we are here tonight to do the syllabus review. The syllabus is posted in your class canvas in a couple of different areas. The first area is under the link on the left-hand side of your canvas shell that says syllabus, or in the module area in your canvas shell, there will also be a module titled syllabus, and therefore, so you have a couple of different places to look at it. So let's go ahead and get started. So tonight, again, we're going to be doing the syllabus review. So this is criminal law. It's AJ101. The section number is 3651. And this is the fall 2019 semester. And of course, this is the online course. My information is listed right here. I am located at the Menifee campus, and I have my phone number down here in case you need to get in touch with me for some reason. I have also supplied you with my email address. I do have a Twitter account at Professor Farrar, so please feel free to tweet me if that's the proper way of saying that. If you do use that method of communication with me, just understand that I'm not quite that good at it yet. I'm getting better, so just give me a little bit of time to respond back to you. Next, I have a couple of links to some places that I think that might interest you. First is the Criminal Justice Club. I have a link to the club's Facebook. We have an active club on both the San Jacinto and the Menifee campus. So check us out on Facebook, and there will be more information, not only in the syllabus later on in this discussion, but also within your class canvas shell. And then next, I have a link to the career education website, which is a good place to go to make sure that you are ready to navigate, if you will, an online class. A lot of students tend to think that an online class is a little bit easier, and well, I'm really not sure if it's easier, but you do need to make sure that you keep track of due dates for assignments, and have the ability to self-regulate. So that's a very, very important thing, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go a little bit further. So here are my office hours. Again, I'm on the Menifee campus. I'm in the 900 building on the second floor. The office number is 961. Should you need to come meet with me for any reason, my office hours are listed here on Tuesdays and Thursdays. As far as online goes, I'm always available 24/7. If you need something, feel free to email me. But typically, I'm in the class canvas and monitoring the courses on Wednesday and Thursday evenings from 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. But again, if you need to get a hold of me, you can email me or post something in the discussion board. So as it says right here, I'm always available at other times by appointment. So emailing me is the best way to contact me. Now, if you do email me, please place AJ101 3651. Again, that's the class number and the section number, criminal law, and your name in the subject line of the email. And I have an example for you right here using my name. So it's Farrar AJ101. 3651 criminal law. And the reason for that is because I teach several courses. And in this particular class, I'll probably teach 2 or 3 sections of criminal law. Sometimes I lose track of names and who is in which class. So putting that information in there would be very beneficial for me so I can know who you are right away and I can get back to you with whatever information that you need. Please keep in mind that all of your emails should come from your MSJC email account. If you are requested to submit some type of written assignment in Canvas or something like that, please do me a favor and submit it in Microsoft Word. If you send that document in some other type of word processing format like WordPerfect or something else, there's really no guarantee that I'm going to be able to open it and read it. And if I can't open it or read it, then I can't review it or I can't grade it. So that kind of presents a problem. Also, if you don't know how to set up your email, contact the college help desk for any assistance. And before we go a little bit further, and before I forget, I want to make sure I get this out there. Please make sure that you set up your electronic device, whether it's your computer or your cell phone or whatever you're using, to be able to receive notifications, changes, announcements, and things from the course. That will ensure that you're getting all of the up-to-date information as I send something out, or etc. So keeping that in mind, please note, we're at the red part right here. The syllabus is kind of a living document. It is subject to change during the semester. I will certainly make you aware of any changes when they occur in the form of an email or an announcement in Canvas, and that's the reason that I want you to make sure that your device is set up so you can receive that information. If you have any questions about the course, please feel free to email me, or you can post those in the discussion board, and I'll show you where that is in just a little bit. Sometimes I suggest that you print out a hard copy for your reference and review. Typically, that's more for face-to-face classes, but just keep in mind all assignments and due dates in the syllabus are really your responsibility to keep track of. So that's why it's important that you watch and listen to this particular review, or you can look at the syllabus in both places that I have in Canvas. So let's go ahead and move on. So what is this course really all about? Well, this course covers the historical development, the philosophy of law, and constitutional provisions, definitions, classifications of crimes, and the application to the system of administration of justice. So there is some legal research, a little bit of study on case laws, methodology, and concepts as well. Some of the learning objectives that I hope that you take away upon successful completion of this class, and I certainly know that you're all going to succeed because you're all very studious and you're watching this and you're enjoying it. Okay, well, maybe not, but anyway, let's go ahead and go over the learning objectives. So when we're all done, I really hope that you're able to understand and to be able to discuss or talk about the framework of criminal statutory law, meaning, where did it come from, and what's the history of law, and how is it applied today. You'll also be able to define and kind of assess and analyze, if you will, the concepts of some important legal terms that you'll learn about in the class, like mens rea or actus rea, and corpus delicti, which is like the coolest word ever. And you'll learn more about what that means in the class. You'll be able to analyze and consider the historical origins, if you will, of criminal law, American criminal law. Where did it come from, and how did it get here? And are there laws that were enacted a long time ago that we still have on the books today? And the answer is yes. The one I can think about right off the top of my head would be train wrecking. Back in the Western days, and even before that, individuals that wanted to rob trains or whatever, they would derail trains, and so typically, and that crime is still actually on the books, believe it or not. You'll be able to differentiate or tell these things apart, and assess situations using the laws that are enumerated or written, if you will, in the California Penal Code. And lastly, you'll be able to really understand the value of what we call landmark case decisions and the impact that those decisions have, not just when those cases were heard, but the impact on modern society today. So do you mean a case law a case that was adjudicated a long time ago, 20, 30, 40 years ago by the US Supreme Court, still has an application in criminal law and policing today? And the answer is going to be yes, and you'll learn more about that as we go through the course. So moving on, here's the textbook. The title, Criminal Law Today, it's the 6th edition. It is from Pearson, and you can see the authors that are there. The book is available at the San Jacinto and the Menifee bookstores. And of course, you can get it, and you're probably a lot more astute on where to find textbooks, whether you rent or buy, or whether you get the e-version. Any one of those options are great. And before I move on, I just want to give you my pitch on the textbook. So I have a lot of students that, sometimes they'll ask me, hey, professor, do I really need the textbook? Well, the answer is going to be yes. And the reason for that is I can only cover so much information in a face-to-face lecture and an online lecture. Typically, the lectures are going to be between 45 and 60 minutes, and I can only squeeze so much information in there. Now, so you're going to need the textbook to kind of fill in some of the blanks to make sure that you understand all of the things that we're talking about. Not only that, the book will all cover some other things that will help you add some context to some of the larger topics that we're talking about. And there'll be some case studies that are also in the textbook. There'll be some definitions and key terms that are in the textbook as well. So it is important that you have the textbook and you're able to read the chapters, and then review the lecture slides, or listen to the online audio lectures, which I'll have. And I'm going to have a lot of things for you, and you'll see that as we go through this a little bit further. I'm going to have in your Canvas shells each week, or each module, I'll have a list of definitions for the week. I will also have the PowerPoint lecture slides, and I will also have a narrated lecture on the particular chapter that we're covering, just like what we're doing right now. So if you want to hear my voice and you think I'm awesome, and that's great, you can watch the lecture video. If you're tired of listening to me talk and you just want to study the slides, then you can do that as well. So you have some options available to you. So let's go ahead and move on. Enough about the book. So in the syllabus, it does talk about the California Penal Code. So we're up here at the top of the page now. And the Penal Code isn't a primary textbook, but we are going to be referring to this book from time to time, and it is specific to California. And in the Penal Code are all the laws. And for California law, and you'll learn this, in order for something to be a law, it needs to be statutory, meaning that it needs to be written. And this is where all of those written codes and penalties, etc., are listed. Now, don't worry if you don't have a copy of the Penal Code, and most people don't just keep it handy. You can access the information online. So you really don't need it. If you have it, great. If you don't, that's fine. But this will help you because we're going to discuss a lot of different codes for certain crimes and punishments, etc., in California. But I have a link to legalinfo.legislature.ca.gov, and you can go there and you can find any code you want, or you can use a search engine, whether it's Bing or Google or whatever, and you can pretty much find any code that you want as well. Now, let's get into the meat of some of this here. So the course check-in. So because this is an online course, it's going to open about a week early. So I'm going to open this class on Wednesday, August 7th, 2019 at 5 p.m. And take the time when this course opens, because this is kind of going to be a short week, and this will make more sense as I get into it. I break up the weeks into weekly modules, but more on that. But stay with me here. So take the time when the course opens on August 7th to complete discussion board number 1, as this will be your official check-in. So here we are right here in the check-in area. Okay. So discussion board number 1 is going to be your official check-in for the class. Now, if you fail to check in, it's going to result in you being dropped from the class. So you need to check in so I know that you're out there. Now, also, so there's like 2 parts here. As part of the check-in, you need to complete a very short 10-question syllabus quiz. And this is a graded assignment. So just take note. So it's going to be worth 10 points. If you listen to the syllabus review or you read the syllabus online located in the Canvas shell for your course, you're going to get 100%. It's not a real big deal, but it lets me know that you have gone through the syllabus and that you understand exactly the content on how the course is going to go. So keep that in mind as well. So course guidelines, we're going to move on a little bit now. This is a fairly fast-paced class with a little bit of reading, okay, and information provided to you weekly. You really need to keep up with the readings. Don't just rely on the PowerPoint lectures to get you through the class. Remember, I talked about context, okay? Some of the legal terms may be difficult to understand at first. Therefore, you need to read the textbook chapters in order to fully understand them, and again, also to add some context to the subject matter. Now, in some cases, you might have to look up a word or a term on the internet or the penal code or in a law dictionary. If you have any problems at all with any of that or any concepts, please let me know and I'll discuss it in Canvas in the discussions area. I'll have a separate area in Canvas I'll show you. It's called the Donut Shop. Yeah, go figure. And I'll tell you that story later on as well, where you can post questions. And if you don't want to post a question, that's fine. You can always email me direct. So moving on. This class isn't super easy. Okay, it's going to require a lot of work on your part in order to do well. However, it's going to be very rewarding at the end from all the knowledge that you're going to gain. So with that, we're going to go into the course expectations. Now, you're going to participate. So some of the expectations here, students will participate in completing a variety of activities that will achieve those learning objectives that we went over at the beginning. So here are some of those expectations. Number 1, that you're going to read the required materials. You're going to look at the PowerPoints, the lecture notes, the textbook, the chapters in your textbook. So you're going to have to do some of that reading. Number 2, you're going to view the weekly chapter videos. Okay, those are the PowerPoints with audio, or any other case study videos that I might put in to help add some context to the chapter or the topic that we're going over. Number 3, you're going to participate in thoughtful and timely discussions via the discussion board. And we'll talk about discussion boards in a little bit, but discussion boards are questions to make you think. Number 4, you're going to complete the online and timed quizzes, and we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail. 5, you'll complete the online and timed exams. And then finally, number 6, you'll complete the midterm writing assignment. So these are some of the main objectives. Now, please take note. Look down here. Okay, and this is really, really important. Failure to participate in the discussion boards, missing quizzes or exams, or failing to turn in any other assignments, or missing a combination of any of those things can cause you to be dropped from the class. So that's why we do things weekly, so I know that you're out there. And so if you're missing from class for a couple of weeks and you don't turn in a couple of assignments, I'm just going to have to assume that you don't want to participate anymore. So you could be subject to being dropped. So make sure if something comes up, you communicate with me so I know what's going on. Okay? So we talked a little bit about online readiness, but here's a little bit more information. You need to make sure that you're ready for an online class. You've already read about some of the expectations. We just went over that. But if you really need to make sure that you understand what is expected of you, you can go to a couple of links that I have here. So the first one here, which will be at the top of the page now, is a link to the MSJC online learning page. And then right below that are some video tutorials and other related information that basically walk you through some steps and help you assess yourself to make sure that you're ready for an online class. Because again, it's very important that you are able to self-regulate, keep track of assignments and due dates, and make sure you get things turned in on time. So with that being said, we'll move on. Talk about technology responsibility. So you are responsible for your computer equipment and internet connection independent of the college. Now, therefore, you're going to need to plan your coursework to be able to accommodate any type of computer-related issues or malfunctions or any other related problem. So problems on your end aren't necessarily going to be grounds for me relaxing the deadlines. So you have to make sure that you have some kind of a backup plan, or you're able to get to a friend's house or a relative or your parents or the campus library or wherever in order to make sure that your assignments get completed. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. So to kind of help you in knowing exactly what are some of the important functions of Canvas if maybe you're a first timer for online, I've listed some functions of Canvas that typically are used. So first of all, for you to be successful, again, you need to make sure that your electronic device is set up to receive emails or announcements or text messages, however you want it set up. But if something changes, and I send out a notification, you need to make sure you get that information. Along with that, you really need to check your Canvas, okay, your announcements or your email or Canvas itself at minimum about 2 times per week. Make sure that you look in all areas to make sure that you're well informed about assignments and things like that. So here's a couple of areas to look at, and I'll go through these. So modules, well, what are those? Well, this is where your weekly assignments are going to be located. And I'm going to title each module so you will know exactly which week the information is for. So for example, module 1 right here is going to be titled week 1. Therefore, week 1 right here is going to contain all of the assignments needed to complete week 1. And there's only really one exception, and that'll be the midterm essay. That has its own area. But everything you need for week 1 is going to be inside the folder week 1. And I'm going to show you the actual Canvas shell. It'll actually be one from this prior semester, but it's the same thing. You'll get the picture when you see it on what it looks like. So again, modules are going to contain the audio lectures. We're right here. Okay, the chapter PowerPoints, links to videos and articles, exams and quizzes, or other related guides that you're going to need. So the goal here by doing this in weekly modules is for you to be able to find everything each week in those modules, so you're not clicking around all over the place and searching. It's all inside the folder. So that should make it a little bit easier to know where things are at. Next would be the discussions area. And this is where group discussions or the discussion boards are at. And these discussions are going to be on various different topics. And I'll have a discussion board for general questions as well. Like I said before, it'll be titled The Donut Shop, where you can post things like that. And I may post links to videos or articles in your discussion board areas. So they'll also be in that content area. So those discussions, again, are going to be in Canvas, and you'll see them in the weekly folder, but they'll also be in a separate area marked discussion. So you can find them in either place. So, but it does help knowing that there's a couple of different places to get to those. Next would be announcements. This is where you're going to find announcements for the class, including any relevant information on changes to exams or quizzes, or any upcoming information I need you to know about. And typically, a lot of times in my face-to-face on-campus classes, I'll have guest speakers. And even though you're in an online class, maybe you would like to attend and listen to a certain guest speaker, like a homicide detective or a gang officer or a canine officer or something like that. So I will send out invites, or I'll post that in an announcement, and anybody in an online course is welcome to attend a face-to-face class for a particular presentation or a guest speaker. So that's a reason for the announcements. Gradebook. So here we are. This is really important. The gradebook function is listed in the gradebook area. And this is where you can monitor your grades after they've been posted. Now, I really want you to kind of keep note of this right here. If you don't see a grade in a certain area, you need to find out a couple of things. The first thing is you need to make sure that you turned it in. And the second thing is if you did turn it in, you need to find out why it didn't get posted. Typically, a lot of the exams and quizzes that we take are the grading is done electronically, other than, let's say, the essays or some other things. So those should pop up right away. So monitor your grade book, just like you need to monitor your calendar to make sure that you're aware of deadlines. Extra credit. This is the area where you can find an extra credit assignment. The extra credit assignment a lot of times is date specific. I haven't really decided that yet, but typically it is date specific. So please make sure that you read the assignment and take note of the dates involved. If it is date specific, then you have to complete it within that time frame. If it's not date specific, then basically it'll open at the beginning of the semester, and about 3/4 of the way through the semester, the extra credit assignment will be due. And I'll show you, it'll be posted, and you'll be able to figure that out. So what are some instructional methods that we're going to do? Well, we're going to do lecture, which is kind of like what we're doing tonight. There'll be PowerPoints, exams, quizzes, writing assignments, some research, and different things like that. So those are some of the instructional methods that we'll do. There is academic support available to you should you need it. This is available to all students at the Learning Resource Center on the MSJC campuses or through the help desk. The school website, please check Canvas in your email, again, at least twice a week for class announcements, PowerPoints, assignments, the syllabus, links to articles, and other related information. Now, please note, it is your responsibility to monitor Canvas for any class or assignment changes. I will do my best to send out information, notifications that things are changing, or don't forget about this, or a reminder on that. But at the end of the day, it is your responsibility to monitor changes and due dates. So please understand that. Next up, Student Code of Conduct. This is available in the MSJC catalog, and I encourage you to read it. If you don't have a catalog, which some of you may not, there's one in the library, or you can access it online. Next up will be something called netiquette. Now, this is pretty important. So netiquette is kind of a network online etiquette. It's the etiquette of cyberspace. In other words, these are the rules for behaving properly online. Now, there's an individual out there that's written a lot of books on this topic, Virginia Shea, and she's defined the issues and discussed these netiquette issues at length in one of her books called Netiquette. And you can review a brief summary of her core rules at the link that I've included in there if you're interested. And again, they don't answer all the questions, but they do provide some basic ground rules or principles to use in solving some of the different dilemmas. Now, the reason I kind of post netiquette on here is just to understand that when we do the discussion boards, a lot of times the topics are somewhat controversial. An example could be the death penalty, and it could be the legalization of marijuana. It could be the searching of a cell phone. And so, controversial topics, and therefore we all have different opinions on this. And the object of the discussion boards, of course, is to learn. And we learn better when we're exposed or we see different answers or opinions, and we can think about things. So that's one of the rationales for discussion boards. So what I'm telling you here is that everybody has an opinion, and I would like you to respect everybody else's opinion. So anyway, enough on that. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. I think we're all adults and we can all get that. So here's some websites, a couple of websites for some case information should you need to look something up. We have Cornell Law, supremecourts.gov, and again, legalinfo.ca.gov, where you can find some different information on the penal code. So, okay, so now even though all the rest of that was super important, we're getting into the real important stuff. So these are exams and quizzes. So the quiz and exam questions, I want you to know we're going to come directly from the textbook, the lecture PowerPoints, the audio lecture, which again is what I'm doing right now, or any designated article or video. So it kind of goes like this. Each week, you'll have a reading assignment, the lecture PowerPoint, and a short quiz, about 10 questions, covering the corresponding chapter, the chapter that we're talking about. There are really 14 chapters in this particular book, and I added one, okay, so I don't want you to get confused, to make it 15 chapters. There's only 14 in the book, so don't panic when you get to chapter 15 and it's not in your book. I put one in there. So in addition, there's going to be 3 chapter exams of 50 questions, okay, and 4 discussion boards. The first one, which we already talked about, is your check-in, and then 1 midterm writing assignment. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. Now again, discussion boards, just to kind of go over it in a little bit more detail, these are reflective in nature. They're meant to make you think. And sometimes, again, they're controversial. So they're meant to make you think about a subject, perhaps research it a little bit, maybe consider some other perspectives, and then give a response. Now, you're going to have a total of 4 of those. Remember, the first is the check-in, so that's kind of the easy one. You just check in. And each discussion board is worth up to 5 points. When you respond to these discussions, or the discussion boards, make sure that you read the information or watch the video or read the article if there is one, and think about it. And then I want you to respond with a complete, well thought out response. Okay, full point credit for your response must be at least 5 sentences. So if you want 5 points, you need to give me a little paragraph, like 5 sentences. Don't just reply, yeah, I agree. Now you can do that if somebody else posts something and you want to say, hey, I agree with you, that sounds cool, no, I don't agree with you, blah, 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 that's okay. But on your initial post, I need a full kind of a paragraph, and I'm giving you kind of a guideline here. All right, so again, and one other additional thing, don't simply just copy a response from somebody else. The more focused and thought out the response, the more points you're going to get. So again, just kind of reiterating, and we're right here, don't just respond with I agree or similar. Tell me what you think about the issue. And again, feel free to comment or respond on another student's post. This is how we get the discussion going. That's why they call it a discussion board. So what are some other important things? Well, let's go over those. So again, and we're going to kind of look at how the course flows now. All lectures, PowerPoints, quizzes, exams, discussion information, and any other assignments are going to be posted and available on Wednesday nights at 5. So remember I told you, I do this in weeks, modules or weeks. They're interchangeable, either one. They open on Wednesdays and they close the following Tuesday. So that's the lead in here. So everything, okay, is going to be posted and available for you on Wednesday nights at 5 o'clock. We're right here. All assignments, therefore, are due by 11 p.m. on the following Tuesday night. So, as an example, because this is an online class, it's going to officially open on Wednesday, August 7th at 5 p.m. Yes, that's early. I understand that. but you'll have until Tuesday, August 13th at 11 to complete everything in that week one. Now, it's a very short week. I understand it. Okay, it's a short week because realistically, the college doesn't get things going until that Monday. But because it's online, I want to get you checked in and ready to roll before we kind of jump into the lecture part. So I'm kind of backing up a little bit here. So you're going to have until Tuesday, August 13th at 11 to complete everything in the week one module. And typically week one includes two things. We've gone over this: the discussion board check-in right here and the syllabus quiz. That's all you need for week one. Hopefully that makes sense. So again, kind of, and it's bold here for us to kind of go over it. This means that all quizzes, exams, discussion boards, or any other assignments for the week must be posted in Canvas by the following Tuesday night. So, as a general rule, there are no makeup assignments. Why? Because you have 6 days basically to complete everything in those weekly assignment areas. Therefore, it's up to you to get the work done. Now, I know that life happens, and I know that sometimes there's emergencies. But again, remember, you get 6 days. Don't wait until the last minute. But emergencies that come up will be evaluated on a case-by-case basis: jury duty, military deployment, verified medical emergency, etc. Please keep in mind, again, I can't say it enough, it's your responsibility to make time for completing assignments. Do not wait until the last minute. Okay, while I do my best to remind you of due dates and send out reminders, etc. during the week, ultimately, it's your responsibility to know when things are due and to plan accordingly. So how can I help you? Well, here's a couple of ways. So here's some helpful hints. So there are basically 3 main issues that I see with online students who experience problems. First is the inability to keep track of due dates. You need to be able to self-pace and regulate, meaning keeping close track of assignment due dates and not waiting until the last minute to do the assignments. Second, thinking that because there are so many assignments, missing a few won't matter. Well, it really does. Missing assignments add up quickly, and before you know it, you're behind a bunch of points that you can't get back. So missing assignments isn't really a good thing. Last, set up your electronic devices to receive notifications or important announcements once they're sent out or posted. It's very, very important that you do that. So how are we going to grade all this stuff then, now that we've kind of gone through everything? Also, just a quick little note here. On the weeks that you have a chapter exam, you may also be required to complete a short quiz, and I'll show you what that looks like visually in a minute. And the quizzes, you're going to have a quiz, remember, every week, except for Thanksgiving break. In this case, you're going to have a quiz every week, and that's to make sure that you are being exposed to the content. So on those particular weeks that you have a chapter exam and a quiz, do the quiz first and then do the chapter exam. So here's how we're going to grade all this stuff. It's going to be based on points, okay? And here we are right here. All right, so you can see A, B, C, D, and etc. But I'm sure you're all going to be in the A area right up here, so we don't even need to go down there. The assignments, here's the point values that are assessed to each one. Again, you have 3 chapter exams at 50 points apiece. We're right here. You have 4 discussion boards. The first one is the check-in. And then you notice back here at the chapter exams, just backing up, the 3rd chapter exam is your final, okay? The syllabus quiz, that's 10 points. Your midterm paper is 30. Your chapter quizzes, because there's 15, remember, at 10 points apiece, 150. So your total possible points are 360. Keep in mind, there will also be an option for extra credit of up to 15 points, maybe even some other things I'll throw in as we go along through the semester. But your point total is 360. But you'll have a chance to get some extra credit points as we go along, okay? So no big deal. Some important college dates. I'm not going to go through all of these for you to remember. Just, when the holidays are and the last day to drop a class and et cetera and things like that. Moving on to your written assignments. Let me go here. Talking real quick about should you need some assistance. I'm here to help. I post the lectures in a couple of different formats. So if you like that, that's great. If you need that, then it's there for you. If there's something else that you need, feel free to email me, and I will do my best to accommodate you to make sure that you are successful in this class. Every semester, we do a written assignment. Here is your written assignment. I also post something in Canvas. So this is a case law right here. And down here, it explains how the paper is supposed to look and how it's supposed to be formatted. I even give you questions that I want you to answer in the paper to help you out. So in this case, it's a case study, Maryland versus King. I ask you what the issue, the facts, the finding, the rationale, affiliated cases, in your opinion. So I'm giving you all of that information to make it a little bit easier for you to do to write this particular case study. Here's some information about how to write it. I have a link to APA formatting if you don't understand it, but the main thing I want you to see here is that right here, I also post on Canvas, in your Canvas, an instructional video on how to complete your APA paper and how APA writing style looks. So this video is going to include examples on formatting, the cover page, the abstract, and the reference page, along with some step-by-step instructions on how to cite and format your references. So I'm going to go through it all, and it'll be a video lecture just like we're doing right now. That'll be posted in Canvas. So and so will just the PowerPoint, so you have two different options to view it. You can listen to me speak if you like that, or if you're tired of hearing my voice already, you can just look at the PowerPoint slides. But don't panic on the essay. I'll walk you through exactly what needs to be done. As far as your essay goes, and I'm not going to go through all of this, there will also be something posted in Canvas, and I'll show you where in just a minute, on how to upload your essay when you're done with it so you can get it submitted for a grade. And then also very quickly, we're going to talk for a second about plagiarism. Copying even a part of a sentence from a text, an article, a news story, a paper, without acknowledging the source, okay, or in sometimes using quotes, if it's a quote that you're using, is considered plagiarism. So please read through this, take the time to understand the aspects of plagiarism, because really you're supposed to give credit to the person that whose information you took and put in your paper. So, I have some different rules of thumbs down here. If you didn't think of it yourself, it's not common knowledge. You can cite it. If you're not sure, cite it. But again, that video that I have will help you get through all of that. And then there's some other information about plagiarism. Okay, so we're getting close to the end. This is the course outline, again, that kind of goes through each week and tells you what is in each week. All right. And it typically doesn't change, but just as an example, week 1, we talked about it. Here are the dates that it's opens and closes. The discussion board and the check-in, or the discussion board check-in, I'm sorry, and the syllabus review. Week 2, here are the dates. And we're going to cover chapter 1, which is the nature and history of criminal law. There's going to be a PowerPoint lecture. Remember, I'll post the PowerPoint, and I'll also do the audio lecture, so you have your choice. And then there's going to be a quiz. That's it for week 1. Okay, week 2. Week 3 is very similar. Now I'm going to go down to week 5, because in week 5, here are the dates. We're going to cover chapter 4. You can see there's going to be the PowerPoint lecture. There's going to be the weekly quiz, and then there's going to be a discussion board that's due. So you have a couple of assignments here. Let's look at week 6. So we're going to cover chapter 5, and this is one of those weeks where you have a quiz and a chapter exam. So here you're going to want to take the quiz first. That's 10 questions. And then you'll do the chapter exam, and that will cover the first 5 chapters. Now, one thing that I do is I typically don't make my exams cumulative. So this exam here is just going to cover, exam 1 will cover chapters 1 through 5. Now if you go down here to exam 2, it's just going to cover chapters 6 through 10. Does that make sense? So they're not cumulative. So this exam 2 isn't going to go way back here and make you remember something from chapter 1. Week 10, very important. So you have a couple of assignments here. You have a weekly quiz, a discussion board, and your midterm is due. So you can see that you need to self-regulate. Okay, and then it goes all the way down towards the end. So with that being said, I wanted to jump in just very quickly into the Canvas shell. See if I can find it here, and show you what the Canvas shell looks like, so you have a very good idea of what you're getting into. So I'm going to kind of take a second and broaden this out a little bit here so you can see the screen, if it will allow me to do that, and it may not. Okay, so we're going to do this. So in your Canvas shell, if you go to the home page, now this is a different class, but you'll still get it. This is the home page. All right, and you can see that this is, it's got all the different links to the different areas. And we talked about, the discussion area, but this is where you need to go to. So if you go to modules right here, and in the modules will be different things, okay, that you need to pay attention to. So if you need online counseling, there's room there. There's a home page that welcomes you to the course. There's information on the Criminal Justice Club. I've got some cool websites here if you're interested in looking at that. I have the Bill of Rights, so I have a lot of information. These are videos for you to look at if that interests you. I have a couple of important Supreme Court cases. I have some important information. And this one here, really, the Please Read button, when you click on that, it'll take you to a document that kind of covers what we covered today, but gives you some good information on how to be successful. You've got some fast facts, the Criminal Justice Club. This calendar, remember, we're in a different class, so this calendar will be updated. And then how to use Canvas is in there. And then you have the midterm essay. Remember I told you that this is one of the areas that would be in its own module? Well, here it is right here. They had the same case study that you did. There'll be the audio version of the, remember I talked about the video on how to write your paper? That's in here. An example paper, a writing rubric, and how to upload your paper. And then we get into the weeks. And this is what I wanted you to see. Each week, and your view will look different. It may just look like a folder, but each week you'll have an introduction, which means when you click on that, it'll give you an article or a video or something. Now, that's not mandatory, but it'll tell you a little bit about the chapter, and it might add some context to the week. For week 1, though, it's a little different. You have the syllabus review. So here's the audio version, and then there's a closed caption version, should you prefer that. There's the discussion board check-in. Okay, there's the syllabus review quiz. And then I have some videos on the different court systems. So you can see this is what we're doing for week 1. Now, again, this is a different class, but you can get the picture. Week 2, same thing. It's in this one folder. Again, your view will look like a folder probably, but in there is an introduction to the chapter, some terms, definitions, the lecture PowerPoints. I have it in a regular PowerPoint, I have it in a PDF, and I have the audio lecture, which is kind of like what we're doing right now. And then I have an audio lecture that's closed caption, and then you have a quiz. So it's broken up like that all the way down. Every chapter looks the same. If there was an exam, you would see a chapter quiz and then an exam. Let me see if I can find one for you. Here's one where there's, this is chapter 4, there's terms, a PowerPoint, etc. There's a discussion board in there. So again, different class, but you'll see how it all comes about. And then here's week 6, where there's a quiz, and then there's also an exam. So hopefully that helps you a little bit on understanding, how the class is structured and how it's going to go. please make sure that you watch all of the information that's in there so you understand exactly how the class flows, how it functions. Read the syllabus thoroughly. If you have questions, let me know. Watch the video that I put out there on APA so you understand all the dynamics of the writing assignment. And again, if you have any questions or you need any help at all, please feel free to let me know, and I will be more than happy to answer any of your questions. Now, because I'm doing this lecture and it is summertime, yes, so it's a little bit early before the fall semester, I felt it only reasonable to leave you with a little bit of what I'm going to be doing in the summertime. With that being said, this is the end of the syllabus lecture. Have a great summer and a great day.